It is Meg's silly mistake. The judge confirms Meg has nearly no memory about finding freedom brief. Meghan Markle's claim that she forgot a royal aide briefed the authors of an unauthorized biography on her and Prince Harry has been described by a judge as an unfortunate lapse of memory. The Duchess of Sussex apologised at a hearing last month for misleading the court about whether information had been given to the authors of Finding Freedom. The Court of Appeal heard how Meghan had asked her then Communications Secretary Jason Knauf to share details with Omid, Scobie and Carolyn Durand, despite having earlier insisted she did not contribute. The publisher of the Mail on Sunday today lost its appeal against a ruling in favour of the Duchess over the publication of a personal letter to her estranged father Thomas Markle. In his ruling, Sir Geoffrey Vos addressed Meghan's apology to the court in November. He said, "This was, at best, an unfortunate lapse of memory on her part." Meghan sued Associated Newspapers Limited, also the publisher of Mail Online, over 5 articles that reproduced parts of a personal and private letter to Mr. Markle in August 2018. The Duchess won her case earlier this year when a High Court judge ruled in her favour without a full trial. ANL brought an appeal against that decision and, at a 3-day hearing in November, argued the case should go to a trial on Meghan's claims against the publisher, including breach of privacy and copyright. But in a ruling on Thursday, Sir Geoffrey, Dame Victoria Sharp and Lord Justice Bean dismissed the publisher's appeal. Reading a summary of their decision, Sir Geoffrey said, "It was hard to see what evidence could have been adduced at trial that would have altered the situation. The judge had been in as good a position as any trial judge to look at the article in People magazine, the letter and the Mail on Sunday articles to decide if publication of the contents of the letter was appropriate to rebut the allegations against Mr. Markle. The judge had correctly decided that, whilst it might have been proportionate to publish a very small part of the letter for that purpose, it was not necessary to publish half the contents of the letter as ANL had done." In a statement after the ruling, Meghan said, "This is a victory not just for me, but for anyone who has ever felt scared to stand up for what's right. While this win is precedent-setting, what matters most is that we are now collectively brave enough to reshape a tabloid industry that conditions people to be cruel and profits from the lies and pain that they create. From day one, I have treated this lawsuit as an important measure of right versus wrong. The defendant has treated it as a game with no rules. The longer they dragged it out, the more they could twist facts and manipulate the public, even during the appeal itself, making a straightforward case extraordinarily convoluted in order to generate more headlines and sell more newspapers, a model that rewards chaos above truth. In the nearly 3 years since this began, I have been patient in the face of deception, intimidation and calculated attacks. Today, the courts ruled in my favour, again, cementing that the Mail on Sunday, owned by Lord Jonathan Rothermere, has broken the law. In a witness statement, Mr. Knauf said the book was discussed on a routine basis, which was discussed directly with the Duchess multiple times in person and over email. Mr. Knauf also discussed planning a meeting with the authors to provide background information and said Meghan had given him several briefing points to share with them. In her witness statement, the Duchess apologised for misleading the court about whether Mr. Knauf provided information to Mr. Scobie or Ms. Durand. She said, "I accept that Mr. Knauf did provide some information to the authors for the book and that he did so with my knowledge, for a meeting that he planned for with the authors in his capacity as Communications Secretary. The extent of the information he shared is unknown to me. When I approved the passage, I did not have the benefit of seeing these emails and I apologized to the court for the fact that I had not remembered these exchanges at the time. I had absolutely no wish or intention to mislead the defendant or the court. This is not the first win for Meghan in this case. In February, an original summary judgment essentially found that Associated Newspapers Limited, ANL, the publisher of the Daily Mail and Mail Online, had infringed on Meghan's privacy by publishing excerpts of a private letter written to her father in August of 2018. ANL appealed that decision, arguing that the case should go to trial, but now the Court of Appeals in London has found in favour of the summary judgment. The courts have held the defendant to account, and my hope is that we all begin to do the same, Meghan wrote in her statement.